Welcome back to the Ross Bolen Podcast, otherwise known as RBP, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, Ross Bolen, back with your co-host, Chris Coulson. Chris,
Hello.
How was your first weekend in Austin?
First weekend was great. I finally started to, kind of get involved with some Austin people around here. Luckily, I had just enough contacts in the area to kind of start to work my way in.
Start to work your way in? I was very impressed.
Yeah,
You made it out onto the lake and shit.
I did. I pulled a little bit of Zuckerberg and got out on the water, face covered in zinc, just like him. Take after the man.
Did you wear a hoodie?
I did wear
Yeah.
a hoodie and
Yeah.
sweatpants and a mask as well, so I was fully covered. No, I had a great time on the lake. It was a lot of fun. I met some gracious hosts that allowed me to get out on the water. Felt like home almost.
Been here for 10 years in January. I've still never been out on Lake Travis. It is like almost at this point, like it's one of those things where it's just like how I never learned how to tie a tie. It's like I have to keep the streak alive at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't even know if I would accept an invite if one was extended to me because this is a hell of a streak.
It is a hell of a streak, but based on my day on Lake Travis, it is quite beautiful out there. Who
Yeah.
knew Texas could be as hilly as Austin is?
Yeah, especially growing up in Houston, which is incredibly flat. When I got out here to the hill country for college, I was like, holy shit on a stick. Speaking of which, you ended up literally in the zip code 78666, the zip code of the devil where I went to college, which is Hays County. It's where Texas State University is located. Shouts to Hays County Jail where the mugshot originated. And I was like, bruh, you're going to die on weekend one. But I forgot you're a 21-year-old and you can handle this shit. Whereas, like, I'm 33 years old. If I go through the 78666, and I mean anything more than literally driving through it on I-35 at a high rate of speed above 90 miles per hour for safety's sake, I would literally die.
I was just happy to make it out of the 666 without a mugshot. That was my goal.
Hell of an accomplishment.
I would say so, based on the stories.
Yeah,
It
not
was
something I was capable of doing myself.
pretty country, though.
It is. It's beautiful out
It
there.
is beautiful country.
Great rivers, great lakes. Not the Great Lakes. Good lakes, I guess. There's only one set of Great Lakes, and they're much more north than we are currently, eh? We've got a great show for you today. Lots to discuss. But first, RBP 315 is brought to you by Leesa, makers of the most comfortable mattresses in the entire world. Your mattress is the most important purchase you'll ever make for your place, whether you're grinding in a studio apartment or you live in a 4-bedroom with 2 kids or some shit. Having a fantastic bed for your body and mind to rest every night is paramount. Leesa knows how important rest is to a better life. Leesa is the foundation of a healthier, happier you. And to Leesa, a bed is more than just a place to sleep. It's a place for relaxation and rest. All Leesa products have been thoughtfully designed to go beyond creating a comfortable bed to transform your bedroom into a sanctuary that you actually want to spend time in. I've been sleeping on the Leesa Legend for the last few months after sleeping on the Leesa Hybrid for years and years, which I have said repeatedly, most comfortable bed I have ever laid eyes or body on. Coles, you've been sleeping on an air mattress in the new crib waiting for your Leesa to arrive. So last night you came through and slept on the Hybrid.
That was correct. After my weekend in the 666, I needed one night of good rest and relaxation, which the Leesa does provide extremely well.
You needed the Leesa Hybrid to get you recharged so that you could be here today
And God, am I feeling recharged.
and perform. Leesa is awesome, and they believe that everybody should have access to a good night's rest. They've donated more than 33,000 mattresses through more than 1,000 nonprofits. They donate 1 mattress for every 10 they sell through organizations that work in causes like foster care prevention. They hooked my Mimi, who's in a memory care unit, up with a Leesa because the bed she had there was trash. Their mattresses are made in the USA, in-home delivery, and setup is available. Financing is also available. Don't miss out, RBP gang. Live healthier, live happier by resting deeper. Order today and get 15% off any mattress for a limited time at leesa.com/RBP. Use the promo code RBP. That's LEESA.com/RBP. Promo code RBP. Keep in mind, you also get a 100-night risk-free trial plus free shipping and returns. So if for some reason you think I'm a liar and these aren't the most comfortable beds in the world, look. 100-night risk-free trial plus free shipping and returns. Leesa.com/RBP. Time for some announcements and shouts quickly. Happy birthday to Alex Presley and his twin brother Zach. And thank you for the love on social. We spoke on Alex briefly the other day, I think.
Correct, yes.
He's like a TikTok god who
He is a
created the
TikTok
Quarantine
god.
Olympics.
Yes.
And he has a twin brother
Zach.
Zach.
And they're both pilots. Well, Alex was going to be more of a full-time pilot and then, blew up on TikTok, and now that's a little more up in the air. But yeah, super cool people.
No
great
pun
people.
intended.
Yeah.
Haha! Happy
Ah.
22nd birthday, Laura Hay, coming up July 23rd. Readings from the entire TFM book are now available on youtube.com/Bolen Media. We finished out last night live on twitch.tv/BossRollin with chapter 12 and the epilogue of my 2013 New York Times best-selling novel. And we had a blast. It was very disturbing, highly inappropriate. At least 40 or 50 of the lines from this book would not be published if it was written in 2020, which was pretty eye-opening. 2012 Ross had a sick, childish sense of humor. That has obviously changed, and now I'm very mature, and I never laugh at anything that could be considered silly or disgusting or disturbing ever. Ever. No one has proof of that. YouTube.com/Bolen Media. You can see all the readings that we did on Twitch.tv/BossRollin. If you missed any of them, they're pretty damn funny. The book is ridiculous. It is definitely offensive. So come through with your earmuff, your PC earmuffs on if you need to. By the way, speaking of Twitch.tv/BossRollin, Twitch is a streaming platform where Coles and I play Warzone, Grand Theft Auto, Apex Legends. We mix in as many other games as we can when we can. We've really been focused on Warzone lately. But it's also where we do live mental health chats. That's where we did those TFM book readings every Sunday, these last several Sundays. Twitch is an incredible community. Big shouts to everybody who's subscribed on Twitch. It's just another way to support Bolen Media and RBP. If you don't care about gaming, it doesn't really matter. It's like, I guarantee you, there are several people who tune in almost every time we're live who could give a shit about the actual gameplay.
Yeah.
They're there for the community and the interaction as we're able to respond to viewers in chat. We have a whole bunch of podcast listeners that now play with us, many of whom are quite sweaty.
Yes.
We have a good time. I'll say this. It's been a couple weeks since I got a win. I'm starting to get antsy. I need one of those helicopter rides. Maybe tonight? I don't know. I don't know if there'll be time. But twitch.tv/BossRollin, go subscribe. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free Twitch Prime subscription per month, and you can use it right there to subscribe for free. It won't cost you anything if you have Amazon Prime. Twitch Prime takes you 2 minutes. Twitch.tv/BossRollin. Go support the show, support Bolen Media, support Coles and I. We put in big time hours on Twitch. We're trying to get to 75 average viewers per hour streamed. We're at like 42 now, so more than halfway home.
We're getting there.
If you're wondering why we need to hit that benchmark, it's so we can make Twitch partner, and then get a much bigger cut of our revenue that comes in through there. But right now we do about $1,000 a month on Twitch, which is obviously a very helpful amount of money for our company, and we appreciate everybody who has been there on twitch.tv/BossRollin. It's Ross Bolen with the B and the R reversed every time we've been live. Coles, you ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
First segment, Hotline Calls. Whoop, whoop. So Chris and I are going to throw the headphones on here, and we are going to play some calls from y'all from 888-WR-BOLEN, which is our hotline. It's open 24/7, 365 days a year. You can call with a question, a hypothetical, a trash or not trash. You could tell us a story. Maybe you've just got some kind of take you need to hit us with. Sing a song. Some people just call and unload for like mental health purposes because they need a place to vent. And that's fine too. Just make sure if you do that and you don't want your call played, you mention at the top that this is not for the show. And we'll go ahead and either listen to it and delete it, or delete it and not listen to it at all, depending on how heavy our workload is for the day. But the hotline is there for you, 888-WR-BOLEN. You call. You've got 2 minutes. That's a 2-minute limit. Please be succinct. Have your windows in your car rolled up. Obviously, speak clearly and shit. All that good stuff. We pulled 3 calls from today that we're going to respond to. Here is your first.
Hey, Ross and Cole. I just have a weird fact for y'all. I just went to a Vietnamese restaurant with my girlfriend and got some really spicy pho. I accidentally rubbed my eye, had some spicy shit on my fingers, rubbed my eyelid. Didn't get in my eye, but it made my eyes swell up and look like I got stung by a bee. And
oh, no.
I'm just sitting there with a wet napkin, like, dying in my chair. And our Vietnamese waiter came up to me and he was like, grab her hair, put it on your eye. And I was like, her hair? So I grabbed my girlfriend's hair and rubbed it on my eye for like 30 seconds, and it helped. And then I did it again like another 5 minutes later, and it helped again. And I just wanted to let y'all know, my face is still swollen, but
what?
Yeah, like something with the oils in the hair helped. So, yeah, crazy fact. Y'all should look it up. Gang, gang, gang. Peace.
Okay, Matt from Richmond, Virginia, goes to a Vietnamese restaurant.
Have you had pho, first of all?
Is it pho?
I believe it is pho. It
it was
could be
pho.
pho. Well, it's spelled PHO, but when I've gone, I don't know. I've heard both ways. But regardless, have you had it before?
I don't know.
Really?
Maybe?
Highly recommend. Delicious soup. And it comes with, you can get it with like beef or meatballs, or it comes with egg noodles or rice noodles, or it's very, I'm
looking at pictures. I've definitely had a version of this at some point.
Very delicious. But as a spicy food eater in general, I do, which I am, I like to spice my pho up.
I like spicy stuff.
Like to get it tasting good, add a little soy, add a little lime to it too. So now you're talking about lime and potential spicy sauce on your fingers.
That's some zest in there?
Yes. As a spicy food eater, rule number 1, avoid the face at all costs.
Yeah.
For an hour before, hour after, just in case, to prep. You got to get in the mental state where if you're about to eat spicy food, you just don't even touch it anymore.
No touching.
Not at all.
In the age of COVID, we shouldn't be touching our faces anyway.
Exactly. So I was prepared for that, actually,
a
spicy food eater, just not touching my face at all.
Yeah.
But the hair thing, I had never heard of that. Had you?
No. And really, honestly, I can't remember the last time I had an experience where I got something spicy in my eyes. Because here's the deal. I've worn contacts since I was 14 years old. And everybody who wears contacts knows if you get into one of these situations with contacts in, it's like 10 times worse.
Okay.
And
because does it get like stuck in there?
It's much more difficult to wash out. You got to ditch the contacts. In order to ditch the contacts, you have to get your fingers back into your eyes to pull them out. It's just not ideal. The last time I can remember a spicy situation that went out of control for me was at a Chinese restaurant when I was like 12 or 13 years old. Where like, you know how some Chinese dishes, they have, just like Vietnamese dishes, there's some spicy shit in there.
Yeah.
And every once in a while you'll get one of those like peppers or whatever it is that's like the god of those peppers. And I got one of those and it fucked my whole shit up to where there was like water coming out of every hole on my face. And this was before like cars for me, man. I was a little kid. So me and my buddy had to full sprint back to my house, which was like probably a half mile away. And then I was just like dumping milk on my face and like chugging milk because that's the only way in my, extensive experience to solve a spicy situation. But Matt from Richmond here is claiming he was told by his waiter to rub his girlfriend's hair on his eyes?
Yes.
Because of the oils?
So I found some research that says, and there was not much research I could find on it, but a couple posts that I could find, one of which was on Reddit, so take this as you will. The oils in your hair help neutralize the capsaicin. I hope I'm saying that right.
Probably not.
Capsaicin is what I'm going with, which is the active component of chili peppers. And it's a chemical irritant for mammals, including humans, which produces a sensation of burning in any tissue which it comes into contact with. And apparently, the natural oils of your hair can neutralize that chemical for things like your eyes, which I guess that's great. But what if you're stuck there alone, or the person you're with, say you and I go to a pho restaurant, right?
Yeah.
You rub your eyes. Are you going to be grabbing am I going to be right in your face, getting your, like, you got lucky. What is this guy's name?
Matt from Virginia.
Matt, you got very lucky you were there with your gracious girlfriend that allowed you to use her hair to eliminate the capsaicin.
And that she had the hair to pull this off. Because like you're saying, if it's you and me, man, I'm really having to put my head up against yours basically and then like try to get a few strands and like rub them up on my eye. And it's like, that's just way more difficult than like with a female who has a lot of hair and or a male that has a lot of hair for that matter. If I was at a Vietnamese restaurant with my dad right now, I'd be fine. Because he's rocking like the most COVID Big Lebowski style haircut I've seen him rock since I was a small boy. So I could be fine. But yeah, if you get here's the thing. If this shit happens to me and I'm in a Vietnamese restaurant and my eyes are on fire and the person I'm with doesn't have the goods to get my eyes back to where they need to be, they don't have the hair.
Yes.
I'm looking around the restaurant and I'm finding a stranger.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than having your freaking eyes on fire with something spicy in them. Now I realize that this might be considered some kind of assault. I don't care. I'm taking their hair and I'm rubbing it on my eyes until I'm good.
COVID probably wouldn't help your case with that either.
I don't care. It's if I'm picking between the two, sitting there and letting my eyes burn, like my contacts melting into my eyes, then I'm going with a stranger's hair, which is disgusting, especially because it's the oils from their hair that are going to help you out.
Yeah. It's the greasier. I wonder if it's like if
the
they haven't
greasier your
showered
hair
in like
is.
3 days, it's a more effective on the eyes.
You know, women don't wash their hair every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They shampoo it like a couple times a week.
Yeah,
Maybe, but they shower.
and they
like,
gotta have.
still,
They shower. They wash off, but they don't wash their hair every day.
Yeah.
I'm
I guess
just-
it takes a lot more work. I don't think you're really supposed to.
You're not supposed to. I don't think.
Yeah.
For like the
But I
healthiness
feel
of your
weird.
hair.
Like my hair feels like significantly greasier if I go like 2 days without shampoo.
It's a thing you have to acclimate your hair to. It's strange, because I've attempted this before, and you're right. If you're not used to it, like you get real greasy hair, and it's kind of gross. You smell your hair. You feel like your hair smells.
Yeah.
In time, it worked. I tried this. I couldn't stick with it. I ran. I came back to normalcy where I wash my hair every day. But it's just like I don't think I learned that about women until I was like 22. Like one girl I was dating was fine. It was the same chick who told me that I didn't have to wash my hair every day. And I was like, are you fucking with me? It was the same chick who told me that showering multiple times a day was bad for your skin.
It is bad for your
And
skin.
I was like, where the hell were my parents on that one? But
so she helped you a lot. This girl made a huge strides in a
massive
young Ross
impact,
Bolen.
only on hygiene though.
Okay.
That was the only front she really helped me on.
To be fair, that's a good area to make improvement on.
That's what you need. You need one relationship to teach you about hygiene. You need one to teach you about heartbreak. You need one to teach you about sex. You need one to teach you about food. I think that's it.
You heard it here, folks. If you're getting married before 4 relationships, maybe reconsider.
All 4 of those things. Make sure you get all 4 in before you tie the knot, or you're going to have some real issues. Ready for another call?
Let's do it.
Here comes numero dos.
Yo, Ross, what's up, man? Yo, this is Josh from San Diego. Currently stationed out here in Virginia, unfortunately. Anyway, so I got a question for you in the FNG. What's his name, Chris? Yo, top 3 Tarantino movies. I've been listening to the pod since back in the day, but can't remember a Tarantino segment. Feel like you're going to go with Inglourious Bastards based off your World War II obsession, which is a solid pick. But am I crazy for picking Death Proof as my number 1? Tell me you've seen it. Probably the most underrated Tarantino film out there. Seems like no one even heard of it. Anyway, shout out to Austin. Yo, is Guero's a real spot? Is it bomb? Is it Tex-Mex? Does it compare to San Diego tacos? Let me know. Anyways, love the pod. Love what you guys are doing. Gang, all that shit. Peace.
All right, Josh. Stationed in Virginia. That's back-to-back calls in Virginia, I might add. But he's from San Diego. By the way, thank you for your service. Did he say FNG?
He did say FNG.
What is that?
Fucking new guy.
I had no idea that's what that stood for.
It is I, the fucking new guy.
What
That
the
is me.
FNG.
It's
and
a
that's
good
like
one.
that sounds familiar to me.
It should be, as the character that I play in Apex Legends all the time says it at least once a game. I believe I just looked it up. It says Bangalore says it when First Blood occurs.
Oh
and
my
to
god,
get
it's
the
a Bangalore line.
Yeah.
That I've heard literally
Thousands.
1,000 times. I thought
Thousands
that
and
was some
thousands.
military term.
Well, I think Bangalore is like
shit.
the soldier of the. So it's
Okay, so
and then
this
Josh
probably
is-
is a military term.
and he's stationed as well. It's
Yes.
all coming together now. You
So when they get like a new guy in the unit, he's an FNG.
You can see the gears grinding in
Oh
Ross's
my
brain
God,
as he connects these dots.
Look at the brain on Bill, picking up all the big facts from Josh. Josh, thank you very much for your call. Let me answer your Guero's question first. Listen, Guero's, for those of y'all who don't know, is a Mexican restaurant in Austin that does a phenomenal job with their sign. Okay? You always see their little sign going viral on fucking Instagram because they put up all these. I think that's the one he's talking about, is it not? Oh man, I might be fucking this up. Mike, help! Mike!
No, it's not Guero's.
No, it's
Guero's
not
is across the
God
street
damn
here.
it.
El Arroyo is what you're thinking about. El
Ah,
Arroyo.
yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not just going to start giving shouts to every single Mexican restaurant in the city, but Guero's Taco Bar, then I can't help you with, bro. I don't know. I can't recall if I've even been to this taco bar, so I certainly can't tell you if it's better than standing up to your San Diego tacos or California tacos. But for the most part, I've never encountered like a fish taco in Austin that stands up to the ones I've had in Cali the few times I've been out there. Y'all just they have the fresh fish. They have the ingredients, I feel, to crush a taco in that form more so than we do in Texas. Now, we obviously do a good job with all the other versions of tacos, but in terms of like, I'm thinking fish tacos, California.
And the vibes. I mean, if you're eating a fish taco, like
On the
100
beach.
feet above the ocean, like looking out over the water.
And I feel like that's every fish taco restaurant in Cali.
It has to be.
Yeah.
That's actually a requirement to open a fish taco restaurant in Cali.
You got to have a 100-foot balcony
Mm-hmm.
that overlooks the ocean.
Yes. And preferably like mango pico to go on the fish taco.
Mango pico.
So good.
Josh asked, favorite Quentin Tarantino movies? And he specifically mentioned that his favorite is Death Proof, which I have to say is an outrageous choice. Now, I saw this movie in theaters, okay? It was part of this, like, double feature deal he released with, it was called Grindhouse,
Okay.
okay? And it was the combination of Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror and the second movie in this double feature. When you went to see it in theaters, like 3.5, 4 hours or some shit you spent in there. It was crazy.
Okay.
One of the more unique movie theater experiences I've had in my life.
All right.
But the second one was called Death Proof, and it's starring Kurt Russell as a stuntman who murders young women in staged car accidents using his death-proof stunt car. And then a few women, I guess I can't really do spoilers here, but let's just say they don't take no shit from Kurt Russell, and things get turned on him a little bit. Now, it stars in outright, like it's got like Rosario Dawson, Rose McGowan. It's a good movie. I'm not saying it's not a good movie, but to say it's your favorite Tarantino film is wild, because I don't even really consider this in his like
The go-to repertoire.
lexicon for me. Yeah, no, I don't really like, because it was just such an individual weird little project that him and Robert Rodriguez did, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed the first half of that thing, Planet Terror, a lot more than I enjoyed Grindhouse. Now that's when I saw, then I enjoyed, Death Proof.
So are they not? They're not sequels. Like it's not.
They're unrelated, completely
Okay.
unrelated films.
Okay.
And in the middle, they had like all these fake. Actually, what's crazy is in the middle between, they had fake previews for other movies. One of the fake previews was for Machete,
Okay.
that they then ended up making later on into an actual real movie. But originally, Machete was just a spoof joke trailer in this fucking double feature Grindhouse deal. And this was apparently like a style of thing that they used to do back in the day. These Grindhouse or Action House theater shows. They're low-budget horror, splatter, and exploitation films for adults, dating back into the 1920s, apparently.
Wow.
Which just sounds like classic Quentin Tarantino nonsense. He loves that shit.
Oh yeah.
But in terms of my 3 favorite Tarantino movies, it's always tough for me to like pick a number 1. But if you're making me now, like if you made me pick from my 3 faves are pretty easy for me to pick. Okay, it's Inglourious Bastards is for sure in there, which he mentioned,
Sure.
as well as Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
But my number 1 now is legitimately Django Unchained.
So I'm seeing yours on the rundown now,
Uh-huh.
and 2 out of the 3 of ours are the same, and Django is definitively my favorite as well.
The
actually.
FNG is fucking copying me.
Yeah.
Django.
Nothing original over here.
Django is a phenomenal movie.
It's fantastic.
What are your other 2 though?
The other 2, I have Pulp Fiction as well, but then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood rounds up the 3rd for me.
And the only reason I'm not popping that thing in there is just recency bias.
It's too
like
new. I
reverse
understand.
recency
Yeah.
bias. You want to know, since we're on it, a couple of Tarantino films that I wasn't as crazy about
Sure.
that got a lot of love. Kill Bill.
Never seen the Kill Bill movies.
Not a Kill Bill guy.
It just doesn't. I mean, okay, I'm
You've
sure I
never
would
seen them
love
at
it.
all,
I have
though.
not seen them, no. And I'm sure I would enjoy them. And I love Tarantino, so I'm sure I would enjoy them because they're Tarantino films. But I've yet to get to the point where I'm like, okay, it's time to watch the Kill Bill movie. Because a Tarantino movie, you can't just like go into it for fun. Like when you're going into a Tarantino movie, you're locked in from front to beginning. It's like not quite White Knuckles, but you're definitely on your edge of the edge of your seat the entire journey.
Yeah.
And so I just haven't gotten to the mental state where I'm like ready to really take in the entire Kill Bill franchise.
He is a very unique writer and director. If you've ever heard him accept an award at an award show or seen any interview of his, you're aware of this. The dude is just straight up strange. Most incredibly genius creative people are.
He is actually the by far the favorite director of people with foot fetishes. Because he himself has a foot fetish.
Documented at this point, yes.
Yes, documented. And, I mean, if you watch any of his movies, you can pick up on it.
But
now
none more
it actually
obvious than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
No.
where he just went straight up shameless with it and was like, we're getting as much of Margot Robbie's feet in here as we can.
And the hippie girl's feet.
And the hippie girl's feet.
Lots of hippie girl feet.
I really enjoyed The Hateful Eight.
Did you?
That's one that got shit on more.
It's one of my... I don't mind it. It's just definitely on
One of
the
your
slower
lower?
side. Well, it's one of his slower movies all the way through.
Sure.
And it just didn't. I didn't feel like it made as much of a lasting impact on me
It
as
didn't.
some of his other ones.
It
But
didn't.
you can't really go through one of his movies, especially the third act, without just enjoying it.
Well, because it just gets so ridiculously violent.
It's fantastic.
People start getting blown in half left and right.
and I think that's why I liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood the best,
Yeah.
because it involves things like an acid-laced cigarette that leads to quite the trippy ending. And you have Leonardo... I don't want to spoil too much of it, but if you've seen it, it's quite an incredible twist on the Charles Manson story that makes the movie very exciting, very well-rounded, and very enjoyable overall.
In a similar way that he rewrote history with the ending of Inglourious Basterds.
Absolutely.
At this point, if you haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'm not quite clear on what the fuck you've been doing. But yeah, it obviously doesn't end in the way that the actual story that they're kind of covering ended. I'll also say this. Not a big Reservoir Dogs guy.
Not a huge Reservoir Dogs guy either. I appreciate it for what it did for Tarantino and his career.
Sure.
And I would say that movie in its essence and its theme is like, honestly, probably one of the most Tarantino movies that he's put out, because it was his first one, his first major one. It might not be his first actual movie.
I'm never clear on what he counts as his first one, but I believe he counts that as his first one, if I'm not mistaken.
But again, it was like, I really appreciate it for the movie, but kind of similar to The Hateful Eight, it's not something that I would go back to rewatch multiple times.
Fair enough. True Romance is dope. I still haven't seen Jackie Brown. Need to get in there. Love From Dusk Till Dawn. But if we're talking top 3, mine are easy. And at this point, we're not, and this is something I've given a lot of consideration to, Django is my number 1, man. And then it's Pulp Fiction and Glorious Bastards. And Pulp Fiction's getting that number 2 spot based on the fact that I've watched it like 30 times at this point. Great call.
Some say it's one of the most quotable crime movies of all time.
Oh, for sure. For sure. All right, we got one more call today on the hotline, and here it is.
What up? It's Hans from Birmingham.
What's up?
Just wanted to give some positivity to the hotline. It is the year of the comeback, obviously, and I'm actually on a little comeback of myself, 2020. Down 22 pounds. I was a fat fuck.
Let's go.
Just like Bill Chungus come January. And I'd like to give a shout to Coles. I think he's had a great contribution to the show. I myself am a 99 baby, so it's kind of nice to have someone right there in my age range. But I think he brings some good shit to the cast. So, anyways, gang, gang, gang. Peace.
It's Hans from Birmingham.
Oh, Hans.
Dude, how do you end up named Hans in 2020? I'm
In
jealous.
Birmingham, too.
I'm jealous.
Hans is a cool name.
It's a dope name.
I would like to know. I would like to think that his middle name like runs with Hans to where it's like some very fancy
Hans and Franz. That's what you're looking for.
Yes, just a cartoon character as Hans from Birmingham.
Who's your favorite Hans?
Oh gosh,
Mine's Hans Zimmer.
I was gonna say, isn't Hans? Wait,
There's also Hans Gruber from
Oh
Die
yeah.
Hard.
It has to be Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer is one of the best
He's the
film
goat.
composers of all time.
He's the goat.
Interstellar was literally made. I watched Interstellar on my drive down.
Inception too.
And Inception, but watching Interstellar on my drive down from Vicksburg to Austin on day 2 of my drive, I actually cried multiple times watching the movie. Hans Zimmer's score.
Wait, hold on, pause. You were watching it?
Yeah, you like put it up where your speedometer
Oh,
goes. You're not really watching
This isn't
it.
safe, Coles.
You're not really watching it. I've seen it before, so it's not like I'm like locked in on it. It's
Sure,
more
sure.
just like listen. I mean, you were in my car today. The sound system in there, very
Oh yeah.
surround sound, got me very emotional with Matthew McConaughey bawling, crying as he's
that
talking to
scene-
Murph.
That scene will crush you.
Crushes me every time.
Every
Wow.
single. Look
Look
at
at
that.
that.
We finish each other. What? What? That was 3 in a row. That'll never happen again. That will never ever happen again. There's no way. How is that possible? We've only done 3 episodes together, and we've already hit a point where we finish each other's sandwiches.
That was great.
Hans Zimmer,
Look at
though,
that.
literally the GOAT at this point to
Yeah.
me.
But
in
Hans from Birmingham may be the next GOAT Hans.
He could be. In Inception, he invented the brrrr that like gets me just immediately erect. Let me see what other movies Hans Zimmer has done, just because we're talking about the GOAT of all the Hanses right now.
Gladiator.
Gladiator, Interstellar, No Time to Die. He's doing Dune. He did The Dark Knight. He did
Mm.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Prince of Egypt,
The
one of my
Lion King?
all-time favorite soundtracks. Fucking Last Samurai, which is a tight movie. True Romance. What? Damn, dude, he's done way too. Batman Begins, and then of course, one of the top 5 films ever made, Kung Fu Panda.
I would say honestly, it doesn't get enough credit for what it is. Kung Fu Panda as a trilogy is a fantastic trilogy to watch.
You know, Chris, not everybody agrees with us. Not everybody agrees
Oh,
with
he
us.
did Rango. Have you ever seen Rango? I love Rango.
I have a funny story about Rango, but I probably can't tell it right now.
We'll save the Rango story.
Maybe for patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Anyway, Hans from Birmingham. He's down 22 pounds. Year of the comeback. Cole's got a shout out. 1999, babies. Stand
Whoop, whoop.
up. Fuck all y'all young people. But it is the year of the comeback, and any of y'all that have stories like Hans did, you want to hit us and throw down, please share. Please share your stories. Continue to send us emails with RBP Impact Initiative as the subject line. Tell us how the show has impacted you or a loved one, or anything about how the show has played a role in your life. And for all the good, great ones that we feel are worthy of being shared on the show, we will. Obviously, we can't share all of them, but we will share as many as we can at some point when we do a RBP Impact Initiative focused episode soon in the near future. So that will do it for our hotline calls for today. 888-WR-BOLEN is the number. Call it anytime. 888-WR-BOLEN. You get a 2-minute limit. Ask a question, hypothetical. You get how it works at this point. And thank you to everybody who has continued to call in and fill up the hotline with incredible calls, questions, takes, etc., etc. RBP 314 is also brought to you by Bird Dogs, makers of the most comfortable all-purpose shorts in the fucking world. You can literally wear them to do anything, anywhere, at any time. I'm wearing a pair right now as we speak. So what are Bird Dogs? They're gym shorts with a built-in silky soft inner liner that makes underwear obsolete. They are shockingly comfortable. Honestly, it feels like I'm wearing nothing, like I'm just recording this episode with a fucking tank top on and no pants. Like if Winnie the Pooh was on vacation. They dry faster than a bathing suit. You can hit a workout in your Bird Dogs, jump straight into the pool, get out, dry off in the sun, then wear them to drive around in your Tesla because you have a Tesla now, then drive that Tesla back home, wash it with your golden retriever Elvis because you're wearing Bird Dogs, and bitch, you can do anything. Go to birddogs.com. Enter the promo code RBP when you check out, and they'll throw in a free Bird Dogs face mask. It's like a condom, but for your mouth, and obviously very needed right now. Get a free Bird Dogs face mask along with your pair of Bird Dogs. They're actually very high quality masks. Beautiful, beautiful masks. Birddogs.com. Code RBP. Boom. Free Bird Dogs face mask with your order. Enjoy your Bird Dogs. You will never want to take them off. They're a safe space for all your most valuable possessions. Coles, how have you enjoyed your Bird Dogs so far?
I love them. I wear them as much as possible.
I often wear them to sleep.
I do too. Usually, and I'm not a shorts guy when I sleep. I'm a boxers guy when I sleep. So it's a big step for me if shorts are okay, like
They
comfortable enough
serve
for me to
as
sleep
your
in.
boxers.
They do.
Because
you don't
as we
need
know,
boxers.
according to that commercial that I did, underwear is for freaks and losers.
And you don't want to be a freaking loser.
We do
or
not.
Loser.
Next segment. Oh shit, Mike, can you run stuff to Wikipedia when you're high music real quick? Without warning? Mike currently scrambling. My guess. He could be in the toilet.
grab your light. This is Stuff the Wikipedia when you're high.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff the Wikipedia when you're high.
Sorry about that. All right. We have a ridiculous Stuff the Wikipedia when you're high today. Kyoungjong. No way I can pronounce this correctly. There's a K in the... It's Yang as you would think it was spelled. Y-A-N-G. Then the last name is Kyoung J-O-N-G. Kyoungjong. I'm assuming. I'm taking my best shot there. My Korean people, do not be insulted by my total butchering of this name. I'm ignorant American scum. But Yang is the name of a supposed Korean soldier who, according to historians... Listen to this shit. Fought in the Imperial Japanese Army, the Soviet Red Army, and later, the German Wehrmacht during World War II. He is, to date, the only soldier in recent history thought to have fought on 3 sides of a war, and obviously is recognized as such. 3 sides!
It's pretty incredible.
Of the same fucking conflict?
And 2 were allies and 1 was a non-ally, which is almost more impressive.
2 non-allies.
2 non-allies. Yeah. Yes.
Japan, Germany, and then somehow at some point the Soviet Red Army, which of course in World War II was an ally. And then later on, not so much.
Not quite the same ally.
Cold War. It was the really freezing Cold War that we had after the fact. Y'all remember? No, you don't. I don't. But how do you serve on 3 sides of one war? Let's find out. Okay. In 1938, at the age of 18, he was in Manchuria when he was conscripted into the Kyoungjong Army of the Imperial Japanese Army to fight against the Soviet Union. At the time, Korea was ruled by Japan. During one of these battles, he's captured by the Soviet Red Army and sent to a Gulag labor camp.
We've spent many a time in the Gulag.
Gulag Ross and Ron have differing results on Warzone. For those of you who play Warzone, you just heard the word Gulag and feel immediately compelled to sprint toward your PS4, Xbox, and or PC. Because of Soviet manpower shortages in the fight against Nazi Germany, he was pressed in 1942 into fighting in the Red Army, along with thousands of other prisoners. He was sent to the Eastern Front of Europe. In 1943, he was captured by Wehrmacht soldiers in eastern Ukraine during the Third Battle of Kharkov, and then joined the Eastern Battalions to fight for Germany. Yang was sent to occupied France to serve in a battalion of former Soviet prisoners of war on the Cotentin Peninsula in Normandy, close to Utah Beach. After the D-Day landings in northern France by the Allied forces, Yang was captured by paratroopers of the United States Army in June of 1944. The Americans initially believed him to be a Japanese soldier in German uniform. At the time, Lieutenant Robert Brewer of the 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne Division, reported that his regiment had captured 4 Asians in German uniform after the Utah Beach landings, and that initially no one was able to communicate with them. Yang was sent to a prison camp in Britain, later transferred to a camp in the United States, and allegedly a German prisoner of war, was released by the U.S. Army from captivity in 1947, became a U.S. citizen, moved to Illinois, where he lived until his death in 1992. Now, it should be noted, there's a lot of differing information out there about this cat. Obviously, this would be a hard dude to track. And historically, I don't even know how they would go about proving all of this.
Well, I doubt the Gulag in 1942 had accurate record keeping, if I had to guess.
It wasn't like there was a lady in the corner with a typewriter, like when you're in court, and she was like, all right, we got another guy checking it. Yeah, name. And if you ever watch The Godfather Part 2, half the time when you're a prisoner or you're moving into a new country and somebody's asking you your name, they don't even care what you tell them. They just write down whatever the fuck they feel after the fact. They didn't even give Michael his proper last name. They just threw Corleone on there because that's where he was from. So yeah, popular news outlets and several historians have apparently regarded this entire story as fact, whereas there's like a Korean documentary that says there's no clear evidence that this dude ever existed in the first place. So he's one of those guys. And frankly, that's where you want to end up. Somewhere between the margins, right?
It keeps the debate going. You know what I mean?
It's a cooler legacy.
If it's set in stone, I mean, forgettable, a little forgettable. But I mean, if people argue about it now, they keep your name up there.
Now you're a hot
topic.
topic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're in there for the long run at that point. No, this man is insane. He was.
The fact that he survived all this is the thing.
Okay, that's the first thing that's unbelievable. Honestly, I would love to know which area he hated, like serving.
Which one he served hated for?
Which one he was like, this is brutal. It has to be the Soviets. I couldn't imagine fighting. Oh my god! Against, and it's Wehrmacht, by the way. The W's a V, but fighting against the Wehrmacht on the Eastern Front with the Soviet Union in probably the dead of winter with prisoner clothes on, I'm assuming, probably no shoes, sounds worse than hell. I can't imagine anything worse than that.
Shoeless Yang Wehrmacht. How are you supposed to know?
Well, this is just because I've watched way too many documentaries about World War II.
I feel like I have, man. Like I should have that in my brain at this point. Wehrmacht.
I just knew there were people screaming at their radio. It's Wehrmacht.
Every
Ross.
time, every episode, dude.
Imagine
every
if I'm
time.
wrong.
It's part of the experience here at this point. But Yang, yeah, no, look, how much historical accuracy there is to all of this is always one of those things that you can go and do more research on yourself. But according to Wikipedia and our stuff to Wikipedia when you're high, 3 different sides in the same damn war. And really, the most impressive part of the whole feat is that he literally survived the entire thing and allegedly somehow became a U.S. citizen and lived out his days in fucking Illinois and didn't pass until 1992.
Yeah. Another crazy thing is, if he was conscripted in 1938 and he was released from captivity in 1947, he basically served in World War II for 9 years. That's got to be up there in World War II. You know,
just bouncing around from fucking
just hanging in there,
team to team. Just whatever jersey they threw at him, he put it on and went out there.
He got signed to a bunch of 1-year contracts over and over again.
Basically, that's what this dude did. Yeah. So there's your stuff to Wikipedia when you're high for this episode. Hope you enjoyed. RBP 315 is also brought to you by Bespoke Post. As we all settle into this new normal version of summer, Bespoke Post is here with customized box of awesome collections for guys, guaranteed to upgrade your life. Right now, some of my favorite boxes available are the Weekender. It's an incredible Weekender bag for your safe travels this summer, and the Bright, where you get a pair of sunglasses, a collapsible shot glass, and a fucking pocket comb because it's windy and shit out there on the boat. Coles.
Gotta have a pocket comb.
Gotta have that pocket comb. Also on the beach. And Bespoke Post only sends guys the best stuff every month. No matter what you're into, Box of Awesome has you covered. From styling, grooming goods to barware, cooking tools, and outdoor gear, Box of Awesome has carefully built collections for every part of your life. To get started, you go take the quiz at boxofawesome.com. Your answers will help them pick the right Box of Awesome for you. They release new boxes every month across a ton of different categories. It's free to sign up. You can cancel, skip a month at any time. Each box only costs $45, but it has over $70 worth of gear inside. Get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com. Enter the promo code RBP at checkout. That's boxofawesome.com. Code RBP. 20% off your first box. Next segment. Brooks Brothers bankruptcy bums me out, bruh. Chris, were you ever a Brooks Brothers guy?
Yeah, I definitely had my phase. You're a tactile person, right? You like touch. You like to touch things, you know?
Yeah.
So Brooks Brothers was always the place for me that I would go in, like, because we had a Brooks Brothers outlet.
Uh-huh.
And so I would go into Brooks Brothers once a year, and I'd spend the first hour just, like, feeling all the nice, fine silks and very expensive, preppy clothing.
The fabrics, man.
And then you spend, like, the last 10 minutes actually picking out, like, a new colored pair of salmon pants and a white polo and spend $160, and there's your Brooks Brothers experience. But
yes,
I went to a high school that was
on discount, by the way. You had a half-off ticket there to get that $160 for 2 items.
Yeah. And I went to a high school that was extremely preppy.
Sure.
So we went through, well, it was the same time that all the preppy pages were getting huge on social media, like Total Frat Move in its peak. And that's when...
Again, I apologize.
Yes. So everybody, all the freshmen and sophomores at my high school thought that we were going through the fratty preppy stage in high school, which we absolutely weren't.
Well, nobody, in all fairness, we weren't in college either. It was all fake.
Yes, but if you look back at some pictures from my high school, there's people in every color on the light side of the pastel color wheel. different polos, different colored shorts. None of them are longer than 5 inches. And everybody was wearing Sperry's Doc
We've all seen those memes.
Yes.
It's like 9 dudes dressed in different variations of polos that are just disturbingly pastel colors and everything you just described. And it's like America's nightmare in 2020, really.
And that was Brooks Brothers.
Yes, and will continue to be, apparently. As we have discussed recently, bankruptcy, it turns out, doesn't actually mean the end of anything in many cases. It really just gives you the opportunity to get your shit together and try again, which doesn't make sense to me at all. But at some point, I don't know, maybe we start another company on the side, drive it into the ground on purpose just so we can declare bankruptcy, like
See
Michael
what
Scott.
happens? Yeah.
I declare bankruptcy. But Brooks Brothers got crushed this year by COVID, by the coronavirus. And here's the thing: this is a long-standing American clothing tradition that turns out was owned by Italians. 2 centuries in business. Here's from Fox. This is a great line. After 2 centuries in business with a raft of illustrious clients, including several former U.S. presidents, that's one of the things they prided themselves on, was outfitting United States presidents. Brooks Brothers filed for bankruptcy on July 8th. Now the race to buy Brooks Brothers out of bankruptcy is about to get a little more crowded, with a group of Italian investors planning to bid for the quintessential American clothing brand and introduce some European flair, which just got about, I don't know, the 7 of you who are listening over the age of 75 to have an immediate panic attack and or heart attack. European flair at Brooks Brothers.
How could you?
What does that even entail?
That's the funniest thing about Brooks Brothers is it was probably 40% college frat boys buying from it, but marketed 100% towards people 60 or above.
Yeah, and the other 60% of their customer base was legitimate businessmen.
Yes.
They would like come in for 3-piece suits and like.
Yes.
I mean, look, as much as Brooks Brothers gets the shit into the stick for like, because college kids and then high school kids who wanted to be college kids ruined it.
Yeah.
Beautiful clothing.
Yeah.
And I would argue one of the finer in-store shopping experiences I've ever had.
I've never been to a bad Brooks Brothers.
Dude, the one in the Galleria in Houston was fucking bonkers.
Really?
So cool. Of course, I couldn't really afford anything in there, but like you said, I'd just kind of walk in and like just peep shit for like an hour. And the smell,
at that point,
it just made you feel rich. Being in a Brooks Brothers made you feel rich.
Absolutely.
Wearing Brooks Brothers clothing made you feel rich. The entire like fraternity facade of the ultra preppy version of it was all about pretending you were rich, even if you weren't.
Yes.
And dressing like an old man, even though you were young, which in hindsight is completely idiotic. But at the time seemed dope. I don't really know why.
Seemed really sick.
We were super into it.
You know what my favorite part of Brooks Brothers always was? The table covered in silk ties. Oh, how do you beat that? And they're all folded perfectly and they like lay on top of each other, overlapping tie after tie with pattern after pattern of beautifully crafted ties. Oh, it's the best.
And the thing is, bro, if you like went in there and just were like, ha-ha, and like wiped them all off the table, 5 minutes later, they'd all be back in perfect order.
The employees of Brooks Brothers, first of all, extremely fashionable people. They always are dressed to a T.
You couldn't get hired there unless you were looking like dressed to the nines every day.
And great posture.
Yep.
Always great posture.
Had to have great. It was like, they were like, you know how Chick-fil-A has this very specific training and every employee acts in a very specific way? Brooks Brothers, it was just a really well-run business. That's why they've been around for 2 centuries.
1818, isn't that crazy?
It just turns out, right now, there aren't a whole lot of folks looking to go out and bolster their fucking business wardrobe and or frat super hard anymore because times are tough and shit is weird and they've been put in a tough spot here. So it's currently owned by Italian businessman Claudio Del Vecchio and collapsed under the weight of the coronavirus pandemic, dealt a knockout blow to the company already suffering from a general shift in tastes away from formal apparel. As we know, I mean, I'm literally wearing a fucking tank top and bird dogs as I sit here and do my professional job that I do for my living. People have become more casual.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Another one of our sponsors, cutsclothing.com/RBP. That's their whole deal, man. Like, not everybody wants to rock button downs and polos and suits. And like, frankly, my generation started to figure out we don't need to be wearing suits every day.
And why are we doing this?
Yes.
I used to exclusively go out to like parties, events, or I wasn't old enough to go to bars yet, but in a polo and shorts and dock shoes. Now, I mean, you guys have seen my style if you watch us at youtube.com/Bolen Media. I wear oversized t-shirt, kind of like vintage band tees. Ross has seen a pair of my shorts that he thought I bought like as a stylistic choice, but it turns out I've just had them since 8th grade, and they're literally falling apart and looks like I've been attacked by a pit bull.
Could have been designer for all I know. But just on looking at them, I was like, those might be very expensive, and it turns out you've had them since when?
I bought them in 8th grade.
That's insane to me.
That's a perk of chicken legs, though. For all you non-chicken leg people out there, I fit in the same pair of pants that I wore in middle school. But
freak,
I would definitely say that style is getting more casual. You can look good in a t-shirt, and especially as like the joggers and like tighter pants become a thing.
Athleisure and shit came out.
I can throw on a $20 pair of H&M joggers that have a good look to them. They look nicer than they are, and then a t-shirt, and I look nice, in today's eyes.
Especially like in, obviously this is regional and dependent on your industry. There are still industries where you do have to dress nicely. But for the most part, people have moved more and more away from this. Technology has played a massive role in the shift in the style of business in this country and internationally. And Brooks Brothers just sort of, how do you shift? There's no way in hell they could have been like, and now we're doing mostly T-shirts. Yeah. Like, people would have been like... Or
even a more European style.
So, yeah.
You can't even, like, the European style of formal wear is a little bit tighter. Like, I have a pair of European cut pants that I really love, and they're a little bit higher up. They're a little bit tighter.
Yeah, they fuck with different vibes.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And so it's still European formal wear, but it's not the 3-piece suit with the vest and the big tie. The pattern tie. It's much more monochrome, black and white. Maybe
the modern
no tie.
Version of all that.
The modern version, and Brooks Brothers definitely was not there.
Wasn't that? Well, more boxy, less about being like the form-fitting tailored suit, more about being like the ballin' ass CEO with French cuff style shit in some cases, and just generally pastel fratty, super preppy vibes. Whereas European style is more, like you said, form-fitting, tight-fitting. There's a little more flair to it. They'll do the high-water pants and the weird shit and the tapered cut pants and stuff that Brooks Brothers' core audience of, like, 70-year-old dudes that, do stonks or whatever, they are not down with that.
No.
So they were never going to make this shift until shit hit the fan, and they were forced to, basically. It's just kind of a hilarious, obviously it's sad to lose the core version of a 2-century-old business, but it's just a random sort of funny side effect of COVID and the way we've seen it impact shopping as a whole. So here's like a little bit on what they're looking at here. Milan-based Giglio Group Spa, which helps fashion companies improve online sales, is spearheading a group of investors to buy Brooks Brothers. If successful, they plan to install Italian managers with fashion industry experience and close stores to free up funds to invest in digital, which is a big picture thing we're looking at in 2020 as a result of COVID as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Many of these brick and mortar storefronts are going to be closing. Many of these clothing brands and really just anybody selling anything from a brick and mortar type of location is going to be looking more to how they can incorporate more e-commerce, more online shopping, more people to their website, less foot traffic physically inside of stores because shit is a mess.
Mm-hmm. And
right?
even before COVID, brick and mortar stores were not necessarily on the rise.
No, they definitely were not.
They were much more, if not plateauing, maybe even on the decline.
They were on the decline.
Yeah.
Malls in America, for the most part, were experiencing issues as a result of the rise of online shopping.
And I think what we're going to see a lot more of moving forward. So my mom is in commercial real estate. She works for a national outlet mall company. And I think outlet malls will still have a place in society because they serve almost a different purpose. Like she'll see... The normal clientele is like a lot of people will come there once a year right before school goes back.
Right before the holidays.
Or right before the holidays. And you get a large bulk of items at one point where you can go to a physical place to get them. Because that is still, I still like to go to a store to feel it, see how it fits.
Sure.
Try something on.
Depending on what it is I'm shopping for, there's certain things that I won't buy online versus things that I will.
But with that being said, the regional malls
they're fucked.
They're fucked. There's really
They've been fucked.
they don't really have as much of a purpose. The outlet malls usually have like a kind of a bit of like an event, you know. It feels like a special occasion to go there. They make the malls a little bit nicer, and that's another thing you've seen a lot more of too, I feel like, is the higher luxury malls. The malls are much more of a place to be as opposed to just a place to shop.
Right.
Because
like
they
the
know
Domain
that,
in North Austin, for example.
I've not been yet, but I'm
it's like
sure.
an all-outdoor, very nice
Yeah.
mall.
Oh, the Domain.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where we went to dinner at Gloria's with my parents. But yes, it is beautiful. It does not feel like you're at a mall. You could just walk around there with a coffee and enjoy your stroll through the Domain. And I think places like that
People watching.
Places like that will play much more of a role moving forward as e-commerce is significantly on the rise, and you can get anything that you want online now.
Yeah,
usually
so
cheaper.
It turns out they're going to be closing the 3 Brooks Brothers United States factories next month. Brooks Brothers 3 U.S. factories, which are slated to close next month, would remain open if this buy goes through. And overseas production would be consolidated in Italy. Here's a quote from the Giglio CE, just chief executive? CE? Okay. Alessandra Giglio. We want a fusion of the American DNA that defines Brooks Brothers with the Italian experience and know-how that we can add. By the way, Giglio is on the Italian stock exchange with a market value of about £49 million, $56 million, builds and manages e-commerce websites for fashion and design companies, and helps increase revenue by getting the products placed on online marketplaces. Its clients include Armani and other Italian brands such as Max Mara, Colmar, and Cartel. Another quote from Mr. Giglio: "It's going to be a tough fight, but I like our chances. We normally help brands rather than buy them, but the opportunity to remake an iconic brand like Brooks Brothers from zero was too appealing to pass up." That feels like a bit of a shot.
Yeah.
From zero? Sir, 200 years. 2 centuries, sir. Have a little respect.
Rebuilding a 2-century-old brand is, especially from Italian clothing makers and fashion managers, I guess I'm kind of excited to see what happens, because 5 years from now, Brooks Brothers may be a completely different store.
Maybe it'll matter again. Giglio is flanked by Luciano Donatelli, an Italian fashion industry consultant who brought the idea of buying Brooks Brothers to Mr. Giglio. Mr. Giglio said other Italian companies were backing the bid and that Chinese investors also had expressed an interest. While some funding for the deal might come from China, the soul of the group would be Italian, he said.
Wow, the rich 70-year-old Brooks Brothers people are going to be livid.
They really are.
China and Italy taking over their favorite 200-year-old establishment.
American establishment. The Europeans and the Chinese coming in and ruining our Brooks Brothers franchises. God damn it.
They're going to have to find new golf polos.
Where will we shop for 3-piece suits and bow ties? The bow tie is what killed Brooks Brothers.
I can't believe I went through as serious of a bow ties phase as I went through.
Oh, man, the bow tie is just such a bad piece of fashion.
It's not a good look. Why did I think it looked so good?
With a tuxedo, it's fine.
Yes.
Anything else,
Bad.
no.
I just had a picture pop up on my... You know how Instagram does like the 4 years ago? Like it'll say, you posted this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I had one pop up from 2016 on the 4th of July.
Okay.
Or the picture was from the 4th. I posted it, I guess, on July 16th or whatever. Of me in American flag shorts by the brand that you all know I'm talking about.
Oh, God.
Wearing an American flag bow tie. With a button-down white shirt and a cowboy hat and Sperry's Docksiders. Yes, I vomited everywhere as well when I saw that. It was a tough time for us wannabe frat boys at Huff High School.
White people have made some very poor fashion decisions over the years.
That was one of my worst.
Very poor fashion decisions. Might I add that 4 years ago shit on Instagram gets really fun after you get a divorce. So yeah, that'll about do it for the Brooks Brothers news. But all in all, kind of bummed about this, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, look, I don't give a fuck about Brooks Brothers anymore. It's been forever since I shopped there. I probably never will again. I don't care how European or Italian they get. I'm probably not going back to Brooks Brothers. I've frankly got enough going on, and my own style does not include anything that they bring to the table. But it just feels like an American institution going bye-bye. That turns out it was partially Italian already, and now might become part of China. RBP 315 is also brought to you by Ritual Brand new sponsor alert. Listen up. Over 70% of men don't get enough vitamin E, and up to 97% of men don't get enough vitamin D from their diet. But fundamentally, some men may overvalue exercise and undervalue nutrition and may think, if I look healthy, I am healthy, which is not necessarily the case. Ritual is introducing Essential for Men, the obsessively researched multivitamin that's formulated to help fill nutritional gaps in men's diets. As a busy, self-starting entrepreneur and small business owner grind boy, my schedule sometimes doesn't dictate I have the ability to really think out my diet, so there are for sure gaps in my nutritional intake that I need help filling, and Ritual is huge for making sure I not only understand what I'm missing, but get what I need. Very stoked to have them on board as a sponsor. The year the comeback continues to pick up steam, and hashtag RossFit has never been on more fire. Ritual is your new type of two-a-days, from helping support mental health, heart health, normal muscle function, normal immune function. This tiny step can have a big impact on your day-to-day. Ritual always delivers. This subscription-based supplement is easy to start and easy to snooze. It's only about $1 a day to have essential nutrients delivered to your door. Step up your nutrient game with Essential for Men. Get 10% off your first 3 months when you visit ritual.com/RBP and start your Ritual today. That's 10% off during your first 3 months at ritual.com/RBP. Next segment, Pop Smoke Forever. So the late, great artist known as Pop Smoke would have been 21 years old today, Chris. Would have been a 21-year-old man.
I had no idea I was older than Pop Smoke.
You're 21.
Yes.
And Pop's posthumous album that dropped a couple weeks ago, as I mentioned, is one of the better albums I've heard in 2020. It's just an all-around incredible rap album, frankly. It's great, like from start to finish. There's no songs I'm skipping on there. He even gets to a section where it's like there's kind of a lot of, like, I don't want to say love songs, but more like, you know, female-focused bops. And I'm rocking through those things as well. Like, the album was just really well done. We talked about it when we reviewed Legends Never Die, Juice WRLD album last week, his posthumous album, and I said, you know, as I mentioned, I thought they did a very, very good job of making this a more complete sort of genuine feel to what Pop Smoke's album would have been even if he was still here.
Yes.
Right? So the OG version of it had 19 tracks. Like, it's a long album.
Which is a big album, yeah.
It's a very long album, and it's why I think they got into the point where they were, like, just sort of throwing in these love songs and whatnot that kind of went... I mean, that's the only part where I was like, damn, he's really going in for the ladies here a little bit. But, like, badass song after badass song.
It really is a non-skipper. Even if you don't love every single song on there, there's none that I am like, oh, I don't... this one. You know what I mean?
Which, in large part, is often the result of great production as well.
Yes.
Like, if the beats are good, you know, it makes it a lot more difficult for you to hit skip.
And Pop's vocals are just...
It
doesn't really matter what he talks about. It's just enjoyable to listen to him rap.
He has such a distinct voice.
Very distinct.
Man. I mean, and it's like 50 Cent has said, he was like the new 50 Cent. He had this, like, gruffness to him that was sort of unparalleled in rap right now. There's not another person I would even like, another person that hot that I would compare his voice to. So it's just a goddamn shame that we lost this dude so young. For those of y'all who don't know, they finally made a huge break in his case last week. He was killed in February when at least 4 masked gunmen, according to TMZ, invaded his rental property in the Hollywood Hills because he had accidentally, like, put the address for that place on social media, and they believe it was a street gang initiation type of situation, or at least they thought that at first, but it doesn't appear to be a gang hit or an East Coast, West Coast beef, according to the, what is this? Los Angeles police, I guess. Instead, they believe it was a robbery gone horribly wrong. That the killers saw Pop's post on social media in the hours before the fatal shooting where he shared his address accidentally and he was flexing with huge wads of cash, according to TMZ. And then these dudes obviously busted up in his house and things went wrong. He ended up dead. It's a goddamn shame. But thankfully, they have made 4 arrests in this case, I believe. And according to TMZ, they did it the old-fashioned way. The cops did, which means like
3 exclamation points there.
yeah, knocking on doors and like they didn't get a tip is what they're saying. Nobody ratted. Apparently the LAPD just was, quote, pounding the pavement and knocking on doors. It's just good to hear. Look, oftentimes when young rappers get murdered, nobody gets caught. Now, whether that's the result of nobody giving a shit or just it's difficult to solve these types of cases, I can't really speak to that. But it always feels like a goddamn shame when not only do we lose somebody so young and talented to murder, but also then nobody is held responsible. So, huge that they're actually getting people, and hopefully the right people. And as we know, LAPD has had issues with that in the past. So, God, please handle this well. Related, they re-released his posthumous album, Shoot for the Stars, and put 15 other songs on it in a deluxe edition. 15?
That could be a whole nother album easily. That could be 2 whole nother albums.
So now I'm looking at it, and it's 34 tracks worth of music. Holy hell on earth. That might be too many.
Are you excited to listen to the additional 15? Or are you worried to listen to the additional 15?
The first thing that pops into my head is why weren't the additional 15 on the original fucking album, right?
Well, that's a good point.
Maybe they just needed more time, or maybe they weren't good enough, and this is a cash grab. We get into that whole thing where I'm just like, ugh. And as long as all the money is going to Pop's estate and not into Steven Victor's wallet, I'm cool with it. But if it's just a cash grab and they added 15 songs to the man's legacy album, then I'm not cool with it. But I also haven't gotten the chance to listen to that yet. God, I can't believe this fool accidentally posted his fucking address, and that's legitimately the reason he got. That is so lame, dude. Stop killing each other over money. You're fucking up. Again, another guy just like Juice WRLD. Should have gotten 20 more years of music out of this dude, at least 5-10 good years out of this dude. And since we're on a hip-hop clip, and first of all, let me say one more time, rest in peace, Pop Smoke. Since we're on a hip-hop tip, a lot of you are asking, are we going to talk about Kanye West and his rally? No. No, we're not. I'm done talking about Kanye. This dude is not bringing anything to the table. The only thing it does when I talk about his shit or watch his fucking half-fake presidential rally is both depress me because I worry for his mental state.
It is very sad.
And then it takes away from my ability to enjoy his music, man. Yeah. So I'm not trying to fuck with it anymore. Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah.
At one point, he starts screaming and crying and talking about aborting Northwest?
Yeah. It was honestly very difficult to watch, and I've read some in-person interviews, basically,
people who
were there saying you could just tell he is not well. Like I saw a couple. Yeah, I mean, you can tell that via video, but they were saying the whole thing was bizarre. He's up on stage in a bulletproof vest, screaming to, I think it was only 1,500 to 5,000. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't a huge rally by any means. But he's up on stage screaming and crying, and he was talking about how Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves. She just sent them to more white people, which apparently there's some sort of factual basis to that in a very light sense, but I need to do more research on that one.
Sweet.
But
yeah, that's the move. Get on stage and besmirch the good name of Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it. He needs he needs somebody in the family to say, we need to give you some time away from the spotlight. We need to get you back to a place where you can focus fully and completely on you.
Mental health.
This is not helpful. This does not help mental health patients. This does not help people that care about America and want to put their vote in a candidate that can do good for America.
Or that actually is a candidate.
Or that actually is a candidate.
Yeah, if he gets write-in votes for this shit's a fucking waste of votes.
It's a lose-lose-lose. I see no reason why he is continuously put in the spotlight in situations like this.
Because the Kardashians make money off it.
Yeah, and that's the sad reality about it.
And it's what's really starting to concern me.
Yes.
And it's the reason that discussion we just had will be as far as we go with Kanye's rally. We're not going to break it down and talk about all the insane shit that he said, because it's not even that it's not productive anymore. I think it's actively harmful. And there are people who look up to this man still with a degree of respect that he's highly influential, especially younger people that don't know any better. And the stuff he's saying is, look, it's bonkers. I don't care if there's some historical credibility to what the fuck he yelled, or if any of this shit about anti-vaxxing or abortion, I like, it just isn't. What have we said for months? You can't help anybody else until you, as a mental health patient, have helped yourself and gotten yourself into a healthy place where you're thinking clearly and can actually have healthy thoughts. Nobody has ever been more obviously not in that place than Kanye West in 2020. And the thing that keeps concerning me is that man, we've seen the Kardashians use personal issues from members of their family. What's his name? Not Robert. The kid that got fat for a while.
I think it's Rob.
Rob. Yeah, Rob.
Yeah.
They put that man in the press over and over and over and over about his weight gain and then weight loss and then weight gain. And it's like, it just doesn't feel like there's a line for them they won't cross in order to continue getting the publicity that they get, in order to continue building their brands and empire. And it feels like Kanye's a side act, like this freak show they throw out there to get more clicks and more views and more money. And I'm not positive that's the case, but fuck, at this point, there's no evidence to point me in any other direction but that one.
Yeah.
We also spoke to the fact that it's very difficult to reel in mental health patients that have the level of money and power that he does.
Absolutely.
Well, the difference is that he's surrounded by people with the same level of money and power, and that some of those fuckers should be able to help him. And that's the upsetting thing. Now
At this point, we as a society need to no longer look at Kanye's rants and antics as entertaining or anything like that. We need to look at them as a man that needs help, and we should do everything that we can to speak to the fact that he needs a place. He needs to find the happiness again. And as difficult as that is,
some fucking meds.
the pressure should be put on by fellow mental health patients. It's hard to watch that video.
I don't know where these dudes are at that have been around him all these years. Where the fuck Pusha T is at. Why guys like Cudi are just like inviting him over, letting him play Sonic or whatever game he was playing in his house. Like, where are these dudes at in terms of stepping up and saying something here? Or do they know shit that we don't know?
And that's
Either
the thing.
way, then fill in the blanks for
Yeah,
us. Like,
yeah.
tell us what the hell is going on. Because this shit looks, it's frankly, that one, I've seen 10 seconds of it, is disturbing. Like, it's not funny or entertaining anymore. It's just sick, and it freaks me out. Anyway, I said I wouldn't talk about it. Now we've talked about it a bit. But that's all you get on the Kanye, I'm doing air quotes, rally, presidential rally he had this weekend in a bulletproof vest that said security on it. This shit is sad. This shit is sad, and somebody needs to help the guy out. Before you head out to take on the world, it's time for some very important announcements. First and foremost, you've been saddled with 3 legal obligations as a result of having listened to this entire podcast. First and foremost, you must rate and review. I don't care where you listen or watch. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, youtube.com/Bolen Media. If there's a place to rate and review. If there's not, go to Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars and 2 or 3 sentences about why you love the show. You can check that box and move on to your second legal ob, which is to share the show with one person every single week. It could be a friend, a family member, a coworker, a neighbor, any one individual that you think this person might be into the Ross Bolen Podcast and the things that we talk about here. Share the show with them. Send them your favorite episode. Tell them where we're available. Do your thing. Check that box and move on to number 3, which is to use our sponsor codes this week. This episode, RBP315, brought to you by Leesa, Leesa.com/RBP, brought to you by Bird Dogs, birddogs.com. Use the code RBP, brought to you by Bespoke Post. Go to boxofawesome.com, code RBP, and of course, our newest sponsor, Ritual, ritual.com/RBP. Follow the show on Instagram at the Ross Bolen Podcast, on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod. We're also on Facebook somewhere if you're Cole's mom or one of the middle-aged aunts of one of our listeners. You can follow me, Ross Bolen, on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at WRBOLEN, at WRBolen. Chris, where can everybody follow you on social media?
All right, we're going to work on getting these a little more uniform in the upcoming month, but you can find me on Twitter at Q0ULS. You can find me on Instagram at ChrisSC99, and you can find me on Snapchat at Chris_Coulson. That's COULSON. If you want to get in touch with me, probably Snapchat's the best move. You can hit me up right away off that, and I check them pretty often, but trying to get back to everybody as quick as possible.
Woo! And check out Bolen Media's television and film podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, available wherever RBP is available, hosted by myself. with my dear friend of 17 years, Mr. Barrett Dudley. This week we'll be covering Perry Mason up through episode 5. We're going to be doing a top five Matthew McConaughey movies. And Barrett's got some tidbits and such for us as well. Oysters, clams, and cockles. And that will do it for RBP 315, produced by Mike Moody Garcia of Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas. We'll be back Wednesday for episode 316, and then on Friday on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast, of course, for your ad-free premium and exclusive episode for everyone pledging monthly support to keep the podcast alive, growing, and going. Minimum of just $5 monthly on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Come through and support the show and get more RBP. You are not alone. Podman gets paid. Respect Mr. Park. Strength and honor. Gang, gang, gang. Peace be with you. And also with you.